Hey, what's up YouTube fam? Welcome back to another class. I'm Ben. Today we're just going to be moving through an open Vinyasa style sequence. We're just going to move, keep it simple, find our rhythm, find our flow, and tune into our bodies. As usual, we get a new class here every Wednesday and every Sunday. So if you've been enjoying the vibe, then please subscribe and like the video. And I'm so excited to keep practicing with you. But for now, we'll just get started in an upright seated position. Maybe for you that looks like sitting on your shins. Maybe it looks like sitting cross-legged. Or if you'd rather lay down on the mat, you're more than welcome to do that instead. But as we settle in, just noticing your breath. Notice where it feels free and good and fluid. Notice where it feels stuck. If it does feel stuck anywhere, direct the breath there. Slowly start lengthening the inhales and exhales. Breathe into your belly, fill up the lungs completely. You're welcome to close your eyes in this brief moment of grounding and meditation. Simply observing how we're showing up. And no matter how that is, having some kindness and gratitude for that state. Knowing that it's always a practice, and just by showing up, we're doing ourselves and our bodies a service. We'll go ahead and take 3 deep breaths before we jump into some movement. As you're ready, take a deep inhale through the nose. Fill up all the way to the top, and then a big sigh out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. Big sigh out the mouth. Last one, deep breath in through the nose. Deep breath in through the mouth. Deep breath out through the mouth. Beautiful. Start to blink your eyes open, and let's meet in a tabletop position. Start to rock the weight around, taking some circles with the shoulders over the wrists. Already jumping into some energetic, fluid movements. Good. Switch directions, circle over your wrist the other way, or if you're just freely shifting weight around, then continue to do so. Just getting weight into the hands, moving the body around. And then we'll all work in towards stillness in our tabletop. We'll turn our palms back so the fingertips face toward the knees, thumbs face out to the side. Shift the weight around for a moment, feeling the wrists expand. And then we'll go through some cat-cows right here. So the tops of the feet can be laying down on the mat if that feels okay for you. And then like normal cat-cow, except the wrists are turned, we'll go ahead and drop the belly and lift the chest as we take a breath in. And we'll push the hands away and around the spine as we take a breath out. Inhale, drop the belly, curl the chest forward. Exhale, round the spine, push away. Notice how these shapes feel different with the hands flipped. Maybe it decreases the range of motion. Maybe it just requires a little bit more mindfulness to get through the movements. And then we'll go ahead and release the hands to face forward like normal. You can kind of take a moment to shake out the hands. And then we'll go through a few cat-cows with the fingertips facing forward, thumbs to the inside, facing each other. So again, inhale, drop the belly, curl the chest forward. Exhale, push away around the spine, separate the shoulder blades away from one another. Inhale to curl forward and lift the chest. Exhale to round and arch the spine. Go through a few more rounds at your own pace. Noticing that space between the hips and shoulders. Continue to grow, expand as the body wakes up. Good. From here, we'll sit back to our heels just for one more moment. And we're going to find some seated upright cat-cows. Clasp the hands together at your heart. Push the palms away, round the spine. As we inhale, we're going to lift the hands overhead. Keep the clasp in those hands. Open up through the chest. Exhale, round the spine, push the hands forward. Inhale, lift the hands overhead, open up through the chest. Exhale, push away and round. Inhale, lift up and open. Exhale, push away and round. Inhale, push up and open. This time as we exhale, cactus the arms, draw the elbows closer to the hips. And then we'll release the hands down to the mat behind us. The fingertips face backwards, thumbs out to the side. We're gonna drive through the hands, drive through the shins to press the hips high off the mat. Feeling the expansion, feeling the muscles integrate here and start to wake up for our practice. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the hips down toward the heels. Crawl the hands out in front of you for tabletop. When you get to tabletop, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Beautiful movement so far. Start to pedal out the feet, bending one knee then the other, starting to work deeper into your down dog. While you pedal out the feet, take a moment to notice what your hands are doing in front of you. Are the fingertips spread wide apart? Where's the weight pressing down? Is it just in the base of your hand, or are your fingertips involved too? Continue pedaling through the feet. And start to settle more into your downward facing dog. Find some stillness here. Root your heels closer to the earth. Gently press your chest closer to your thighs. Good. From here, we're going to bend the knees a lot, pretty much until our chest meets our thighs, or until our belly meets our thighs. So finding a lot of length in the spine here as we reach away. Good. And then straighten the legs. Drive your heels down. We'll do that a few more times. Bend your knees a lot. The heels are going to lift up off the mat. The chest is going to come closer to the knees, belly to thighs. And then drive through the heels. Straighten the legs. One more time. Bend the knees a lot. Heels are going to lift. Belly comes closer to the thighs. Drive through the hands. Create length in the spine. Feel the shoulders work. Good. Straighten the legs. Bend back or straighten back into your full downward dog. From here, rise up onto your toes. Gaze between the hands. And then take a bunch of little steps, walking your feet to your hands. Forward fold at the top of the mat. We'll have some time in this forward fold. If you like to find ragdoll, that's an option. Clasping opposite elbows, relaxing in the upper body, bending the knees a lot. If you'd like a more active shoulder stretch, maybe you clasp the hands behind the low back and then lift the palms overhead. There's really a lot of options here for anybody. Remembering to be explorative, so not being constrained by the walls of your mat. If you look up at the screen, I'm kind of swaying myself all over the place here because it helps me find a little bit more space in all parts of the hamstrings, in the upper body. I like to shake my knees out, bending one knee then the other. Regardless, just as we continue to breathe here, getting a little bit deeper into the legs. Good. And from here, bend the knees a lot until your belly touches your thighs again. And then we'll press through the feet, roll the spine all the way up to standing position. Samasthiti Tahiti. Reach the hands out in front of you, or palms down by the hips, actually. The hands will face open. Relax through the shoulders. Relax the jaw. Relax the eyelids. Feel yourself in this strong Tadasana mountain pose. Feeling prepared, feeling strong. Feeling gratitude. Inhale, hands up to the sky, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, release. Inhale, roll up to stand and lift your hands to the sky. Listen carefully. Exhale, chair pose. Sink the hips down. The weight is in the heels, and our feet are about hips width apart here. Reaching the hands up, but try not to stress in the shoulders, trying to allow the upper body to relax and find some ease here. And then sitting down a little bit further into your chair pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale to release this shape and fold forward, hands down to the mat. Good. And that's going to be our modified version of our half sun A today, so we'll go through that a few more times. As you inhale, find a halfway lift. Extend the spine and bring the hands to the legs. Exhale, fold and release. Inhale, rise up to stand, lift the palms up high. Exhale, sink down into your chair pose. Take an inhale in your chair pose. Exhale, fold forward and release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, lift the palms up high. Exhale, sink down into your chair pose. Take an inhale in your chair pose. Exhale, fold and release, finding your rhythm. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, drive through the feet and rise to stand. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, drive through the feet, rise to stand. Exhale, sink the hips into chair pose. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, fold and release. Inhale, press through the feet and rise up to stand, lift the hands high. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fold and pause here in your fold. Hopefully that got the legs warmed up and continue to build some energy into the body. So from here, place your palms firmly down on the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need in order to do that. We're going to step the left foot back to the back of the mat. And then we're going to step the right foot back into high plank. We're going to hold this shape for a few breaths to really cultivate some strength all across the body. If you'd like to come down to your knees at any point and any time I reference high plank, you're also available to simply drop down to your knees and find a modified version. But wherever you're at, we're going to drive through the fingertips. Wrap the triceps back to externally rotate the arms. And what that simply means is that the eyes of the elbows face forward, pointy parts of the elbows face back. And by rotating that manner, we're able to integrate the shoulders onto the back. We're able to activate the chest a little bit more for a stronger position. It also gets us ready, so that when we bend the elbows, we can keep our elbows tucked in and find a strong chaturanga. Because that's where we're going to go next. We're going to shift forward onto the toes. We're going to bend the knees or bend the elbows. Keep the elbows tucked in toward the side ribs until you lower all the way down to the mat. When you get there, we're going to find an oscillating cobra. So the fingertips are going to land on the mat at about 10 and 2, just like we're in driver's ed. The fingertips land on the mat kind of out in front and to the side of us. And we're going to move with our breath to open and close the chest. So as we inhale, we're going to drive through the fingertips and hover our chest off the mat for a subtle back bend. As we exhale, we're just going to release that out. Inhale, rise up, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, release, just oscillating. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, release. 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 Last one here. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, release. When you do, the hands are going to come down to the mat next to the chest. The toes are going to tuck behind us. And the first thing we're going to do is, tuck those toes and then flex the legs enough that the knees come off the mat. Our elbows are going to be tucked in and we're going to push ourselves up to high plank in one fluid motion. Shoop. So we land in high plank. When you get there, simply shift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. We're going to go through some modified full sun A's now. We're going to go slow the first round, and then we'll go with the breath, one breath per movement from there on out, and as we find our pace. First round, we're going to rise up high onto our toes, heels lift off the mat. Then we're going to bend our knees a lot. Remember, beginning of class, belly comes to the thighs. From this crouched down dog position, we're going to press through the feet and ripple forward to high plank. So roll yourself out to high plank. Once you're in high plank, we're going to drop the knees down to the mat, then shift the hips back to a sort of puppy pose. So the hips kind of send back closer to the heels. The hands are still out in front of us. From here, we're going to gaze forward and pull ourselves through. Think knees, chest, and chin down on the mat. And we're going to pull ourselves through that motion, hovering over the mat into our upward facing dog. Tops of the feet press down. Pull the hips through as you lift the chest and drive through the hands. From here, take a breath in. And as you exhale, find your downward facing dog. And that's our flow. We'll do it a few times, 1 breath per movement. Inhale, rise up high onto your toes. Exhale, bend your knees a lot. Inhale, ripple forward to your high plank. Exhale, knees drop, hips send back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through to your upward facing dog, hovering over the mat before you lift. And then exhale to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale, rise up high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees a lot. Inhale, roll forward to your high plank. Exhale, knees drop, hips send back toward the heels. Inhale, hover and pull your being through to your upward facing dog. Exhale to your downward facing dog. When you get there, take 1 breath in and out. Inhale, rise up high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees a lot. Inhale, ripple forward to your high plank. Exhale, knees drop, hips send back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through, hovering over the mat, eventually landing in upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. When you get there, take 1 deep breath in and 1 deep breath out. Inhale, rise up high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees a lot and look forward. Inhale, ripple yourself forward to high plank. Exhale, drop the knees, send the hips back to the heels. Inhale, upward facing dog, pull yourself through. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 1 breath in and 1 breath out. Last one. Inhale, rise up high onto your toes. Exhale, bend your knees a lot. Inhale, ripple forward to your high plank. Exhale, knees drop, hips send back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog and pause. Once you land in downward facing dog, we're going to settle into a child's pose and take a moment of stillness after all of that movement. As you make your way into your child's pose, bring your knees wide about mats with distance as your toes land close together behind them. Stretch the arms out in front of you. If you'd like a little more activity in the shoulders, maybe even rise onto the fingertips. Start to feel the shoulders flex and the shoulder blades pull away from the spine. Most importantly, take some deep breaths. Settle into this grounding shape. Feel supported by the mat underneath you. You are here now. And we will find a shoulder stretch. So from child's pose, lift your forehead off the mat if it was grounded down. And we're going to find a bind by reaching our right hand underneath our left shoulder and threading the needle until our right shoulder drops all the way down to the mat. From there, you can lower your right ear closer to the mat and keep the left hand stretched out in front of you. Breathe into the space in and around your right shoulder. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start to release the right hand and then extend the right hand forward. Switching sides, we're going to thread the needle left arm underneath the right shoulder. The left hand will come down toward the mat, and then we'll lower the chest down. We'll lower the left ear down toward the mat. Breathe. Start to release. Left hand reaches forward. Child's pose, neutral position. And start to make your way back to downward facing dog. Use the next few breaths to settle back in. Again, shifting the weight side to side, being a little bit animalistic in your down dog. Finding some new movements, rolling the body around. Maybe shift forward to high plank and press back to your dog. Find some freedom in movement here. If you need some inspiration, you can always just look up at the screen, see what kind of weird stuff I'm doing, and go from there. And we'll start to meet back in our downward facing dog. From down dog, we're going to lift the right heel up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Then we're going to bend the right knee and open at the hip socket. So right hip is going to stack on top of the left, and we're going to find some movement rolling the right hip around, rolling the right ankle down. Or option to take this all the way into flip dog by lowering your right foot back down to the mat outside of the left, and then just opening up through the chest. Either way, we'll make our way back to three-legged dog. Right heel up to the sky, close off the hips, and then bring the right knee all the way to reach for the left elbow. So shifting forward into a plank-like position with the right knee hovering and squeezing up toward the right or to the left elbow. Good. Shift back up to three-legged dog. This time bring the right knee toward the right elbow, shifting forward into a mountain climber position. Good. Last one here, three-legged dog. Reach the right knee toward the nose as we shift the weight forward, and then we're going to take a big step, right foot to right thumb, and rise up to a high crescent lunge. Lifting the palms overhead or keeping the hands at heart center, it's up to you. Rock the weight around, shift forward and back. Slowly rocking the hips a little bit lower. And if you want to have a little bend in your left knee in this first crescent lunge, then feel free. Find your breath. Work into the moment. Beautiful. Take a breath in. As you exhale, open out, warrior two. So the left heel dials down to the mat. The left foot is pointing forward. It's sort of at a 45-degree angle. The right heel is in alignment with the left arch. You can go ahead and look at your feet and see where your feet are in space. They don't need to be perfect, but that's just sort of a guideline. And try to relax in the shoulders. Find your breath. Again, with this flow, similar to the others, we're going to go through nice and slow and build our foundations the first round. And then once we have the movements, we're going to go through a little bit quickly and build our rhythm, build our pace and prana, build some heat as well. But for now, just sink into the moment and experience the pose in all its beauty. Feel strong in your Virabhadrasana too. Good, and we'll finally release and find peaceful warrior, reaching the right arm back behind us. Finding length into the side body. And then straightening the right leg, reversing our triangle. Reaching the right hand up, lengthening through the right side body continuously. All the way from your right foot, up the leg into your right fingertips. From here, we're going to shift forward, triangle pose, Trikonasana. So this pose can look a little bit different for everyone. For me, I have my right hand resting on my right shin as I reach my left hand up to the sky. If you're more flexible than me, maybe you want to reach your right hand down to the mat, inside or outside your right foot. If you're not feeling so flexible right now, you can always shorten your stance by bringing your left foot up by a few inches, or you could just keep a nice bend in your right knee. There's no correct place to be. The correct place to be is simply wherever feels nice for you. Whatever feels challenging, but also easeful. Whatever puts an appropriate amount of stress on the body, not too much so that it hurts or it's painful, but not too little that we can become distracted and we don't have to be engaged. All right, from here, we're gonna shift into side angle pose. So your right hand can be down and the left hand can open up, or a modification is to bring your right elbow to your right knee. Use that for support and then reach the left hand overhead. We're finding length in the left side body here. One long line of thunder between your left fingertips and your left toes. The strength. Good. And while we're in side angle with the left hand reaching overhead, we'll take some rolls and rotations with the left arm. You could take maybe 3 going one way and then switch directions, find 3 the other way. And I know this is a challenge holding these shapes for quite a while, but try to stay engaged. Make it work for you. And then we're going to find our half moon. So from side angle, our right hand is going to reach forward, reach forward, reach forward until it meets the mat or the ground in front of the mat. As that happens, the left heel is going to float off of the mat We're going to stack the hips on top of one another. We're facing directly to the side. Maybe the gaze goes up or out in front of you. Keep trying to engage through the left leg. Lift the left heel a little bit higher. Again, we're pressing the weight mostly into the heel of the right foot, but we're using our hand for guidance and support as well. You can always float your hand if you feel like it, but I always feel better with my hand grounded or onto my fingertips. Then from here, we're coming to Warrior Two. So you got this. Again, we're going slow so we have the time to explore. We're going to drop the left foot back behind us to the back of the mat and eventually rise back up into our Warrior Two shape. From here, another peaceful warrior. Reach the right hand back, find length in the side body, and then we're going to cartwheel the hands back down to the mat. Once the hands reach the mat, pivot forward onto your left toes into a runner's lunge, and then we'll step the right foot back to the left. From high plank, knees drop, hips shift back to the heels, and then we'll pull ourselves through to upward facing dog and back to downward facing dog. When you get there, take about 3 breaths or so. Wow, we were just on our right leg for quite a while. Let that fizzle out. And we'll move into the left side. So lift the left heel up to the sky, 3-legged dog. And then we'll bend the left knee, open up at the hip socket to stack the left hip on top of the right. You can stay here and just find some movement rolling around in the left hip or ankle, or you can find flip dog by lowering the left foot down to the mat behind you. If you're finding flip dog, use the opportunity to focus on opening the chest. Find a healthy back bend. Then wherever you're at, we'll return to 3-legged dog. And then we'll bring the left knee over to the right elbow. Good. Feel the compression in the body. Back up to 3-legged dog. And then we're going to bring our left knee to our left elbow. Mountain climber position. 3-legged dog. Beautiful work so far, y'all, regardless of where you're at. And then we're going to shift right knee toward the nose. Lift, drive through the hands, protract the shoulder blades. Feel the knee pulling up toward the chest. And then big step, left foot to left hand, and rise up, high crescent lunge. We are off our hands. That was madness. Take a moment, rock the hips around, start to work into this side. Again, your hands can be lifted out in front of you, but after all of that work, it might feel nice to just bring the hands to heart center. It might feel a little more mellow. Either way, continuing to work into our high crescent lunge. And again, you can have a little bend in your right knee if you want on this first round, or if it feels good, you can go ahead and drive through the heel to straighten. And now, wherever you're at, reach the hands up to the sky. We'll take a deep breath in. As we exhale, open up, Warrior Two. Hands reach out beside us. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. In this challenging pose, can you find some ease? Can you find your breath? Look out in front of you over your left thumb. Pick something to focus your gaze on. Simply breathe. Acknowledge that it's a challenge, and then stay. Be here because you're strong enough. And then we'll find our Warrior Two, or Peaceful Warrior rather, by reaching our left hand up and behind us. So focusing on the nice stretch in the left side body here. Then we'll straighten our left leg for whatever you want to call this, Peaceful Warrior, reverse triangle. Just lengthening the side body regardless. And as you're ready, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Left hand down, right hand up. Again, find a version of this that works for you. Just trying not to crunch or shorten the side bodies here. We want to remain nice and strong in the spine. So especially the left side body here, make sure we're not dumping down and crunching the side ribs. Keep some space there as you open up through the chest. Press the hips forward. Use that to open the chest. Notice the left hamstring and engage the quad. Beautiful. Take a breath in. As we exhale, start to make your way into side angle. Remember, left hand can come down to the mat, or you can simply bring your left elbow to your left knee, which is what I'm going to do. The right hand reaches overhead, right ear is close to the right elbow. And we're just going to take some big rotations with the right hand. So take about 3 or 4 circles in one direction, and then as you're ready, reverse. Try to keep the lower body stable as you move the arm. And then find your stillness. Reach the right hand overhead for your side angle. And then we're going to find our half moon Ardha Chandrasana. And again, the way we're going to do that is being really, really strong on the left foot. Shifting the weight forward, the left hand is going to land on the mat out in front of us as we float the right foot out behind us and lift the right hand up to the sky. We'll just be here for another couple breaths, opening up through the hips. Good. And we'll release this into Warrior Two by bending into the left knee, slowly lowering the right heel to the mat behind us, and then rising the upper body back up. Good job. From here, Peaceful Warrior. Left hand reaches up and back. Find space in the left side body. And then from here, find your Vinyasa. So cartwheel the hands all the way down to the mat. Shift the weight forward. We're in this runner's lunge. From runner's lunge, left foot steps back to right. Take a moment in high plank. And then drop the knees. Send the hips back toward the heels. Pull yourself through to upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. All right, yogis. Let's go through that sequence again. This time moving a little quicker with a little more fluidity, not spending as much time in each of the shapes. So as we inhale, right heel lifts up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, plant right foot to right thumb. Inhale, rise up into your high crescent lunge. Exhale, open out into your Warrior Two. Inhale, find your Peaceful Warrior, straighten the right leg. Exhale into your triangle, Trikonasana. Inhale, stay here in triangle. Exhale, bend into your right knee into side angle. Inhale in side angle, reaching the left hand overhead. And exhale. As we inhale, start to move forward into your Ardha Chandrasana half moon. The right foot plants in front of us as we gently lift the left heel up to the sky. Good. Wherever you're at, take a breath in your half moon. As you exhale, start to bend into the right knee as the left foot lands behind us and we rise up to our Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, Peaceful Warrior, take a breath in to reach the right hand behind us and exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Inhale, step the right foot back to the left for high plank. Exhale, drop the knees, send the hips back to the heels. Inhale, pull your being through to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Land here. Take a couple breaths at your own pace. Starting to become more familiar with that combination of movements. We'll work into the left side now. So inhale, left heel up to the sky. Exhale, left foot plants next to left thumb. Inhale, rise up into your high crescent lunge. Exhale, Warrior Two, open. Inhale, Peaceful Warrior, straighten the left leg. Exhale, Trikonasana triangle. Take an inhale in your triangle. Exhale, bend your left knee into side angle. Inhale in side angle. And exhale. As you inhale, start to shift forward into your half moon. Left hand grounds out in front of you as we lift the right heel up. Good. Feel a driving sensation through your right heel as if you're kicking into a wall. And then we'll start to come out of this. So bend into your left knee, lower the right foot down to the mat behind us, Warrior Two. Take a breath in to reach the left hand up for Peaceful Warrior. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Inhale, step the left foot back to the right. Exhale, knees drop to the mat, hips shift back. Inhale, pull yourself through and find upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. When you get there, take a couple breaths. We'll go through that 2 more times on each side. Finding your flow. Feeling the strength in your breath, allowing your breath to carry you from pose to pose. Inhale, right heel up to the sky. Exhale, plant right foot to right thumb. Inhale, rise up high crescent. Exhale, Warrior Two. Inhale, Peaceful Warrior, straighten the right leg. Exhale, Trikonasana. Inhale in Trikonasana. Exhale, find side angle, bending into your right knee. Inhale in side angle. And exhale. Start to look out in front of you, plant the right hand out, lift the left heel up, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. From half moon, start to bend into your right knee. Find warrior two, lowering the left heel behind you. Rise up to warrior two, take a breath in for peaceful warrior. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Inhale, step the right foot back to the left. Exhale, drop knees, send hips to heels. Inhale, pull yourself to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take one breath in, one breath out. One more breath in and breath out. Beautiful job. Inhale, lift the left heel up to the sky. Exhale, left foot to left thumb. Inhale, rise up, high crescent lunge. Exhale, open to warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior, straighten the left leg. Exhale, rotate into your Trikonasana. Inhale as you stay here. Exhale, bend into your left knee, side angle. Inhale, exhale. Look out in front of you. Left hand plants out in front. Lift the right heel up for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Bend into your left knee. Start to lower the right foot to the mat behind you. Come through warrior two into your peaceful warrior as you inhale. Exhale, rotate the arms back down to the mat. Inhale, step left foot back to the right. Exhale, knees drop, hips shift up and back. Inhale, pull your being through, upward facing. Exhale to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Pause. Now we have one more round in that flow. So now that we've been through it a few times, we know what's coming. We can start to articulate. We can start to make it like a dance so that we're never really stop moving. We're always just in fluid motion as we inhale and exhale. And of course, that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. It just means we're finding a personal rhythm. Acknowledging that there's always a challenge there. And also acknowledging that we can work through the challenge. So let's do it. Inhale, right foot up to the sky. Exhale, right foot plants to right thumb. Inhale, rise hands up to the sky. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior, straighten the right leg. Exhale, rotate into your Trikonasana. Inhale here, and exhale. Start to bend into the right knee, shift forward into your side angle. When you get there, left arm overhead, take an inhale and an exhale. Look out in front of you, plant the right hand, lift the left heel up, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Start to bend into your right knee, lower the left foot down to the mat behind you, come through warrior two, and then reach up to your peaceful warrior. Take a breath in. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Inhale, step right foot back to left. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back. Inhale, pull yourself through, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left heel up to the sky. Exhale, left foot plants to left thumb. Inhale, hands lift to the sky. Exhale, open, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior, straighten the left leg. Exhale, rotate into Trikonasana. Inhale here, and exhale. Start to bend into your left knee, reach the right hand overhead for side angle. Take a breath in, and out. Look out in front of you, plant the left hand as you lift the right heel up to the sky. Woo! I just fell out of that one. Beautiful. We're going to bend the left knee, lower the right foot to the mat behind us, come through a warrior two, lift the left hand up to the sky. Rotate the arms down to the mat, and then step the left foot back to the right. Drop the knees, send the hips back. Pull yourself through to your upward facing dog, and then back to your downward facing dog. Once you get to down dog, look between your hands. Inhale, rise up to the toes. Exhale, bend your knees a lot. Inhale, ripple forward to your high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through to upward facing dog. And then exhale to downward facing dog. Once you get there, rise onto your toes. Don't worry, this time we're just going to take a bunch of little steps, walking the feet up to the palms for a forward fold. It's your choice what variation you want to find of this forward fold, but we're going to chill out here for a moment. What I'm going to do is gorilla pose, Padahastasana, crawling the hands underneath the feet for a wrist stretch. I'm massaging the wrist with my toes. I always feel so weird saying that, but it feels nice. Take some deep breaths. Letting all of that movement just wash over. Finding gratitude to be in a still position. Seeing where you can soften. We'll be in this fold for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're binding in any way, go ahead and release the hands. Bend the knees a lot, and we'll roll up to stand one vertebrae at a time. When you reach your standing shape, take a moment in Tadasana, mountain pose. Hands lay out beside the hips, opening the palms forward. Maybe closing your eyes and taking a few breaths. From here, we're going to find a dancer's pose. So we're going to start by grounding the left foot down to the mat. And then we're going to find just like a quad stretch, clasping the inner edge of our right foot with our right hand. We'll lift our left hand up to the sky. And try not to tilt forward at the hips too much. We're going to start just by kicking through the foot, the right foot into the right hand. And feel the weight pulling up rather than hinging at the hips. And then once you find your stability, drive through the right foot even more, and then maybe hinge at the hips by an inch or two. But feel the weight pulling up more than it's pulling horizontally. Good. We'll be here for 5, 4. Make sure you breathe. 2, 1. Release to stand. We'll switch into the other side. So ground down into your right foot. We'll find that quad stretch, clasping the inside edge of the left foot with the left hand as we reach the right hand up to the sky. Again, we'll start with the weight pulling up, so try not to hinge at the hips yet. We're just going to drive the left foot into the left hand. Once you're in that position, feel free to hinge at the hips a little bit, but still feel the weight pulling up. A lot's going on in this shape. Lots going on. The chest is opening, the back is bending, the left shoulder is engaging as we reach back. The left leg is obviously very involved as the quad works to drive. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release to stand. Shake it out. We're going to go through that one more time, one more dancer on each side. So grounding down into the left foot again, grabbing the inner blade of the right foot with the right hand. Reach the left hand up to the sky, then drive through the right foot to open up. This time I'll invite in a variation. So you can either stay here, or you can start to reach the left hand forward and down, and this time start hinging at the hips. So we are pulling down this time if you're going for this variation as we reach the left hand down and kick and keep lifting the right knee higher, and then eventually maybe the left hand comes down to the mat. In this sugarcane bind. Then you might just be in regular dancer, but if you're in this variation, then we'll go ahead and rise back up to regular dancer, kicking through the foot, feeling the weight pull up. And then wherever you are, we'll all release to stand. As you're ready, we'll find one last try at that, driving or bringing the right foot down into the mat, and then grabbing the inside blade of the left foot with the left hand, reaching the right hand up to the sky, and then driving through the left foot to start to open into your dancers. Option to stay right here. Or maybe you reach the right hand down and start to lean forward and down, hinging, kind of opening at the right hip. Maybe you just reach down, maybe the right hand or right fingertips come and land on the mat. If you're in regular dancer, keep breathing. If you're in this variation with me, then we'll start to rise back up to regular dancer, driving through the right foot, kicking through the heel. And once you get there, we'll all release to stand. Whew, good job. Take an inhale and reach the hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. From Uttanasana, palm the hands down on the mat, bend your knees as much as you need to do that. We'll step the right foot back, We'll step the left foot back, high plank. From high plank, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, knees drop, hips send back to the heels. Pull yourself through to your upward facing dog. And then exhale to your downward facing dog. From down dog, we're going to find a half pigeon on either side. So we're going to start on the right. If you want, you can come through three-legged dog and then step your whole right leg forward into your half pigeon, or you could just step or come through a tabletop. But either way, we'll meet in half pigeon. And whenever I cue half pigeon, I always invite the variation in of deer pose or this 90-90 shape with both legs bent. So this allows us to have more space in the right hip and fully sit down in the right hip as we fold forward. Just having the bend in the left knee helps create that availability. But if your hips are feeling open, you can always just straighten the left leg out behind you to deepen into this shape. Either way, as long as you're in some variation of half pigeon, we'll hold here. And we'll have plenty of time in this shape. It always takes me quite a while to work into half pigeon because it's such a deep hip opener. So I like to hang out in this upright half pigeon for a little bit. Hands down on the mat and chest is lifted off the mat. It's just a little bit less intense for me as I kind of shift the weight around. Feel into different parts of my hip. And then over the course of the next 30 seconds or so, I'll gradually lower my chest down closer to the mat. Allowing everything to settle. It was a pretty energetic practice today, so now allowing the energy to come down. As we get closer to the mat, feel grounded. Continue your sense of observation and exploration into the body. Just notice the sensations and sit with them. We have a little bit more time here, so if there's any last variations or changes you want to make, feel free. In just a few more breaths, we'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Start to make your way out of this shape. We're going to move right into the left side, half pigeon. I'm going to come through a downward facing dog. You can do that, but you definitely don't have to. Eventually, we'll all make our way into that half pigeon on the left side. Again, option 2, bring a bend into the right leg behind you. Or if you're ready for it, option 2, extend the right leg all the way with the top of the right foot pressing down. Again, plenty of time here, so appreciate that and appreciate all the body does by working into a more restorative shape here. When I first started doing yoga, my practices were often all very fast and energetic and challenging. And then the more I practiced, the more I learned to observe my body and have a full experience and do really what I needed. The more I learned to slow down, the more I learned the value in the yin versus the yang. So for every time I heat it up and have a quick moving, energetic vinyasa practice, I also make sure to bring it down to the mat, slow it down, and find the yin. And often I notice the more time and emphasis I give to my slow, stable, grounding movements, often the more of an improvement I see in those more energetic shapes. And that's what I love about the practice. It's always an evolving journey. And over time, you really do get to learn a new appreciation for the movements you can find, whatever that may look like. As life evolves, the practice evolves, the physical shapes, the asanas evolve and change over time. And all we can do is appreciate where we are right now. Just a few more breaths in this half pigeon. If you'd like to make any more variations, feel free. If you'd like to say hi to my cat, LeBron, he just wandered onto my mat to say hi to me. Hey, buddy. We'll just be here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start to release out of this half pigeon. Option to come through a downward facing dog. Actually, let's all meet in a downward facing dog. So as you're ready, just go ahead and step the left foot back to the right, and then rise up. One last down dog position. Feel yourself stable in your home base. Rock the weight around a little bit. Maybe close the eyes. Feel the familiarity in this position. Feel the comfort in this position. Also knowing that it's quite the active, challenging shape, so appreciating and honoring that. From downward facing dog, we're going to shift forward and place our knees down on the mat for tabletop. Once we reach tabletop, we'll lower all the way down to the mat to our bellies, and we'll find a couple last active shapes for the day before we flip over onto our back. So we'll find a locust pose, reaching the arms back behind us, shoulder blades plug onto the back, and then we're going to lift our feet up off the mat as well. You can stay here if you'd like to remain in this locust back strengthener, or you can bend at the knees and reach the hands back to the inner blades of the feet. If you want to make that connection into bow pose, you can drive through the feet and lift the chest. Think dancers, right? This is almost a kind of prone double dancers pose. We're kicking through both feet to open through the chest and bend back. Find your breath in this constricting shape. It's both constricting and opening, right? It can feel harder to breathe, even though we're finding so much expansion. So see if you can work into that stability. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let all of that go. Use your hands as a pillow and rest your head down on the mat. Wiggle the hips side to side. From here, we'll just flip onto our backs like a pancake. When you do that, we'll find a Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees out wide. Rest your hands on your pointy hip bones or on your heart and belly, somewhere that allows you to ground and tune into your physical shape. Now we'll bring our feet flat on the mat. The knees will point up. Rest your hands down beside your hips, and we'll find a bridge pose. Drive through the feet to lift your hips off of the mat. Find the strength in the backside body and the glutes. You can keep the hands pressing down gently beside you, or you can clasp the hands behind your low back and wiggle the shoulders closer to one another. And keep driving through the feet, keep engaging in the muscles around the spine. Keep breathing. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Gently rock the hips down to the mat. You can gently wave the knees side to side. We'll have one more opportunity for a back bend. It can either be bridge pose like we just did. It can be Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel, if you have that in your practice. Or you can honestly just chill here. You don't really have to do anything. But either way, we'll go ahead and press the feet, lift the hips high off the mat. Try to find a shape that's a little bit deeper than the first one. Maybe your hips just go 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter higher than the last time. Find a variation and open up. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, beautiful job, 2, 1, release. And you can shake the knees side to side for a moment. And then we'll hug the knees in toward the chest. And this is going to be our last shape of the day before our final rest. So you can either keep the knees hugged in and just rock side to side on the back body. Another option would be finding happy baby, clasping the outside edges of your feet, elbows falling inside of the knees. And again, here you can rock side to side. You can straighten one leg then the other. Or you can find another inversion like a shoulder stand or a plow pose. And I think I'm going to work into a plow pose by lowering the feet back behind me and rounding at my spine. Find something that works for you and just take a few breaths, maybe close your eyes. Feel the continued softening and grounding down into the mat. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, be here, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release and roll back onto your mat. Allow the legs to rest out in front of you. Allow the arms to gently fall by your sides. We're going to make our way into our Shavasana now. Find stillness and let the body rest. And this is where I'll leave you today. Feel free to linger here as long as you need to. Maybe take a nice little nap. You earned it. As always, it was a pleasure to move in this space with you all. Until next time, peace and love.